Hey guys, this is C. Miller with Sugar Publishing LLC, and we are back. Another episode of Indie Author Insights, where we share information and experiences from the perspective of new authors, so that it helps some writers that are potentially looking to publish their book and kind of give them some guidance and some insight. So today we have with us a dynamic duo. They just published their second book. Their first book was incredible, and I wouldn't venture to say that the second one outdid the first one, but both of them are amazing, and we are blessed to have them on the platform with us today. Introducing the sister authors. How you guys doing today?
Thank you for having us. We're doing good.
I'm so happy you guys are here with us. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Chyrel.
And I'm Lyris. And we've written the book Mirrored Images, and before that, Different Sides of the Same Coin. Sounds
great. Lyris, tell us a little bit about Different Sides of the Same Coin. Who would you mainly write that book for? Who was the target audience?
I would say, well, the target audience is anybody who is human and can relate to, family issues, body issues, bullying, or just trying to figure out who they are as a people or as a person, who they are as an individual, and setting out on a journey to find themselves, and then they discover what their purpose is.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I know it's going to be refreshing to a lot of readers that get their hands on that book. Chyrel, tell us a little bit about Mirrored Images. Mirrored Images.
Mirrored Images simply just expands on the story of Different Sides of the Same Coin. This is book one. Book two, Mirrored Images, goes a little bit further because we were writing under different circumstances. The first book chronicled 20 years of writing throughout our adult years. Mirrored Images is our current writing in the space and time that we are as adult women, namely Black women in this time, writing during a pandemic, caring for a father who's dying. And so all of those elements converged in one place, and Mirrored Images was born because after you go through that kind of adversity, you tend to look inward, and that's where this body of poems came from.
Beautiful, beautiful. I went to a writing seminar once, and they referred to the poets as the writers with souls, because a lot of poetry is born out of emotional experiences.
Yes.
Like people that are a lot of times it's out of pain, it's out of hurt, and out of sadness. So with you guys experiencing that during the pandemic, if you had to sum your book up and say, this is the question that Mirrored Images answers, then what question does it answer? What problem does it solve?
Basically, the overarching message that we want people to take away with Mirrored Images as they begin to explore it in book one, which is Different Sides of the Same Coin. Whatever you go through in life, you're going to go through something. You go through a great deal. When the smoke clears, at the end of that, your sister is always standing right there with you by your side. That was the overarching message of Mirrored Images.
Yes.
We've gone through all this stuff, and she and I together as one, we're still standing. And that's what we want people to take away from that. Your circumstance, your conditions, your adversities don't define you.
Yeah, I think that's a message that needs to echo now more than any time in history. I would be honest with you. I don't know if I've met sisters that were as close as you and Sister Lyris. I don't know if I haven't come across. that supported each other and loved each other openly and complimented each other, not only verbally, but in your writing. The way you guys' personalities interlock, I think it's beautiful. I think it's incredible that we have an opportunity to see that in this generation and in this culture that we obligated to preserve. So in doing that, with that said, oh yeah, absolutely love you guys so much. Sister Lyris, tell us a little bit about how this book pushed you to grow and develop, and what can writers expect to be able to measure in themselves growth and know that they're growing as a writer?
Well, as Chyrel touched on, when we wrote the first book, we were younger. That was like some of those poems are 20 years old. And I think if you write and you keep writing, you have no choice but to grow. When I was younger, I think the more you read other writers, not just poets, just authors, period, you grow as a writer. And I could see that actually, we started our third book, and I could see my growth as a writer, because this third book is actually not a poem book. It is a book telling a story, and even poetry tells a story. Mm-hmm. So if you write, and you write every day, you write from, true, a place of truth, and you can see yourself growing as a writer. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to stay in the same place, because in life, you don't stay in the same place. You grow, you get older, you learn things. So you take all of those factors and your experiences and the things that you are going through daily, and you put it in your writing, and you will see the growth. That in the first book, I noticed that if people read my poems in the beginning, it's me searching who I was. I was trying to find out who I was and why I was going through these things. And then if you read the poems as I got older, I sort of came up with the answer, and I found the answer. Yeah. So, that's what writing does for you. It will help you find yourself.
It will. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So you go through this period of self-discovery. Was it painful?
Was it painful?
Finding yourself, was it painful?
No, I tell you, the book that we're writing now is more painful. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get my hands on it. Let me ask you this, because a lot of times when writers come to Sugar Publishing and we sit down for the consultation, they have this misconception concerning publishing. The word publishing gets lumped into one mound, but there are actually a number of methods you could take to getting published. So traditional publishing is not the only avenue. What made you guys opt against traditional publishing?
Okay, I'm going to take this one.
Mm-hmm.
What made us, Carlos, opt for self-publishing is being writers of a mature age. You kind of are dug in on certain things that you are going to not compromise on, and you're just not going to tolerate. Mm-hmm. And for me, a no starter was a 20-year-old that didn't have my background, didn't have my experiences, right, telling me what I could and could not say, and the content of what I could and could not say. And you cannot be a authentic writer nor storyteller if you're being asked to hold back or shave off certain crucial aspects of your narrative. And so for me, there was just no other option but to self-publish.
I can understand that. I try not to delve over into make associating things exclusively on ethnicity or culture, but I know there are certain things that pertain to only us as a people that only we can communicate as a people. So it would do an injustice to the readers that come in our shades if they have to read words that they can't connect with. So it's certain things that we say in a way that we say it, where it's really gonna tie your hands. Self-publishing is probably gonna be your only alternative.
Yeah, and I don't like when people refer to the way we speak as ebonics.
Yeah.
It's not ebonics.
Yeah.
It's not just the ebonics. It's what it is, quite frankly, is they love to put Black creatives and Black writers in one box.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that box is ebonics, if that box is the vernacular, if that box is Black dialect, slang, and all of the rest of it, then that is what they will put you in if you allow them to do that to you.
Right.
We were not going to allow anyone to put us in any specific box.
Absolutely.
Because if that were the case, then we are right back where James Baldwin was writing in the 50s and where he was writing, Langston Hughes in the 40s. Right. So the publishing industry is very closed in general for Black narratives. So when you shade that down to whether it's Black male writers, it's even smaller than that. And then when you look at Black women writers who happen to be sisters, Emily Bronte and Charlotte did not have the same fights that Lyris and I are having. I guarantee you they did.
Right.
Because they had someone that was advocating for them. Oh, these are two sisters that can write. Let's hear what they have to say. Right. And they celebrated that narrative. But when Lyris and I are in front of these publishers, they want to tell us what to say, how to say it, and what they are uncomfortable with. It makes them uncomfortable about us writing about our narrative. Yeah. And so that, Carlos, in and of itself, is why we self-published. And I had to learn from my younger sister by a year and 5 months. Stand strong in what you believe in. Stand firm in it. Yeah. Don't allow anyone to set your narrative. You stick true to what you want to write and what you want to say and how you want to say it.
Yes.
And if you don't advocate for yourself, you can't expect anybody else to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, give her a big hug for me, because she just helped me, because I know we all need to be reminded of that. It's standing strong. You sometimes standing strong means standing alone. Absolutely. But that's one thing that we learn, especially once we commit to being authors and commit to being publishers or what have you. We can't afford to leave each other to do this alone. And our readers and our community, all the more, should embrace our literature.
Yes.
Look at some of our educators, look at getting some of our books that pertain to our people inside of school systems and having them in libraries and making them require reading or what have you. But yeah, your sister hit the nail right on the head. So if you had to make the choice again, or if somebody comes to you, would you say that as Black writers and authors, that it's going to lessen your chances of success if you try to go with a traditional publishing?
Not necessarily.
I wouldn't, because again, that's that box that we're all talking about.
Okay.
We don't place boxes on each other. We don't place boxes on other Black writers or any writer. Okay. And so to me, when you there are lots of writers that are they have their hands in all those pots. They are self-publishing, and they are also with a traditional publisher as well.
And they're doing well.
Okay, great. So whatever your lane is, whatever your avenue that you're traveling, and if it's working for you, you ride it until the wheels fall off.
Awesome. What have you learned? What is the most important lesson you learned about the publishing process? It could be anything from beginning to end, from editing to signing
For
eyes,
me,
anything.
For me, it was just kind of touching on that again. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the narrative that you are putting out
Right.
to the masses. And if you believe in that narrative, then you fight to get every syllable of it in front of people. And you don't let someone tell you should only be 30 pages. And you don't let the same person tell you, okay, it can only be 100. If you're writing and you feel it should be whatever it is, and that's your finished product, then you fight and stand firm in getting the finished product out there.
Awesome. Sister Lyris, what you learned, throughout this publishing process?
I'm not telling people that not to compromise. In some ways, some things you might have to compromise, but don't compromise who you are as an artist. Don't compromise your artistry. Like my sister said, fight, to get your narrative out there. Because if you believe in your product and you believe that it has value, somebody else will believe it too. Absolutely. So if it means, self-publishing, going outside the box, that's another thing. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And fight for it. Stand up and fight for it.
Stand up and fight for it. I know that's right, sis, and I'm gonna be right there fighting with you. Let me ask you guys one thing. I know different sides of the same coin and mirror images, which are both available on Amazon, by the way. Both of those were poetry centered. Mm-hmm. So now you mentioned that this third book is more of a story, more of a novella, like a novel.
Right.
Is it difficult making the transition when it comes to genres?
Not at all, because the story, Carlos, built on each other. Mm-hmm. And so we introduced ourselves and our family to the world. And so the book 3, now you get the backstory of us, the sisters. You get everything that you wondered and you questioned about. You wanted to know the big presence of our Father. You see it in real time as it's being written. You get the mother, the matriarch of our family. You get the patriarch of our family. You get the siblings. Everyone that helped to create who we are and what our narrative is. And so all of the books build on each other, and this non-fictional family drama that's being written, you will see some of the poems inside of it as well. So we interweave all of the story together to tell this whole full story so that you finally get it. I mean, that's how you know when something is just so organic, and that God is in the presence of it, because you couldn't have created something this organic. You just couldn't. This is like, to me, this is like so perfect. It writes itself because it's coming from a real place, and we're just telling the world the backstories of everything.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Yes. So inside of the story, did you guys write yourselves out as like young ladies that was reading books? Like, they had them places in there where you guys were just reading something, or did you get to a point where you guys were poetesses? I don't want to, I'm telling y'all book ain't.
Well, you know what?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all.
No, it mostly takes place at the time we were actually writing mirrored images. Mm-hmm. It takes place where, we are in the house, once again, as grown women, taking care of our father who is dying. And we're dealing with the dynamics of that, and clearing out a house where for 49 years we lived. We lived in this house. This house was not just a house to us. It was a central point. It was part of our family. And then to we were dealing with the emotions of that and the emotions of saying goodbye to a whole generation that raised us
Mhm.
and made us
Who
who
we
we
are.
are.
Mhm.
And so it's that whole dynamic of that. And, because it is loosely based on the way we grew up, we didn't want to offend anyone because I'm telling you some stories that we're telling.
Mhm.
So we didn't want to offend anyone. So we kind of had to change the names and stuff like that. But believe you me, everybody knows who each other are.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to say, oh, no, she didn't write that about me.
Yeah.
We're not defending or protecting the guilty, but what we are
Right.
trying to do in a real way of healing is narrate the events of our lives so that we can make peace with it.
Yeah.
Because Lyris and I have always moved as one particular unit, even in a house with 4 other siblings in it total.
Right.
It was always Lyris and I.
Okay.
I mean, I used to utilize Lyris as my pillow in the crib. That's how,
Wow.
that's how close we were. That's how close we are as grown adult women. When she's uneasy, she looks for me.
Mhm.
She looks for me to let her know, okay, just inhale, exhale, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And likewise, she's my peace. So we comfort each other and compliment each other.
Yeah.
And
And
hopefully people will find out through this story how we became so close.
mhm.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love it. And I feel like, you should have that freedom to be able to write and get that out of you. That's why we have these gifts like that. That was one of my concerns with my first poetry book. And I almost didn't even want my mom to get a copy.
Oh.
Yeah, because a lot of poems like the one of father, he makes mention of her, but I had some others in there about, whatever I felt. And it'll take you back to that being boxed in that you mentioned earlier. And you cannot write freely because you have to inhibit the truth of what it is. And it won't, and people will be able to detect. The real readers, they will be able to detect synthetic writing.
Right.
So you want to be authentic, you want to be sincere, and you should have that freedom. I think you both are incredible authors, and I look forward to hearing amazing things out of you in the future. I know that Sister Chyrel and Sister Lyris, they do poetry readings, they come out and do book signings, and they're always open to other opportunities whenever they present themselves. So we're gonna give you guys a minute. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you, where to find your book, where to find you on social media, and let them know what area you're in so you can get out there and sell some books and do some poetry readings.
Okay,
Sure.
I am in the Dirty South. I am in Red Banks, Mississippi. And the best way of contacting us is utilizing and accessing our amazing website, Sisters, SISTERS, Rock, ROC, in Rhyme, RHYME.com. sistersrockandrhyme.com. You will be able to then access every social media handle we have: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the rest of it through the website. Our books, as you mentioned earlier, Carlos, are on Amazon, both books, different sides of the same coin and mirrored images. And
Awesome.
my beautiful sister, Lyris, is in Chicago. She is in the greatest metropolis in the whole world. And she's also hit that website because all of Lyris's social media handles are available as well.
Sounds great. Sounds awesome. I cannot wait to get my hands on that next book. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is Indie Author Insights with Sister Chyrel Jackson, Sister Lyris Wallace. The information for their website and both of their books will be listed in the details below. Like always, we appreciate you guys chiming in. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next episode of Indie Author Insights. Thank you.